So I think that what they're doing for their particular culture is equitable.
Let me ask, and we'll get Ron Beltrusis into this. Ron Beltrusis is the assistant superintendent at Echo Glen Juvenile Facility. You've got to look at this and wonder, wow, you know, this is radically different from anything that I've encountered previously. How do you view it?
Oh, the banishment piece by itself is something I don't know enough about, the details of it. But we've worked with the Native American culture a lot at Echo Glen. We have the Owasso group out there all the time because the cultural piece and what the person's spirit is does matter in terms of rehabilitation. What establishes their morals, what establishes their conscience, what they believe in really does count. And if
it sounds as if the principle of this is somewhat appealing to you.
I don't want to get into the sentencing part, but I want to say that the spirit part is very important.
Just the concept. What do you think of the concept?
Of a banishment?
Yeah.
I'd be concerned, my concerns would be in the area of what's happening in that period of time during the banishment. As my concerns are when we send somebody away to an institution, it's our responsibility to make sure we take a look at some things that happen during the time they're there. Just putting them away for a year or two isn't going to make any difference.
Go ahead.
I'm Christy Artella. I'm with the Support Network, and one of the things that we're trying to do is to provide a network so people don't fall through the cracks. And I think some of these kids are really falling through the cracks. We're not able to meet their needs at Echo Glen because they're not there long enough, or they're just there to do their time. They're not doing the treatment, and they come back out in our society, and they're as dangerous as when they went in. And that's one of the problems with our system.
All right, well, let me ask you this then. If you have that level of criticism for the established means of dealing with juvenile offenders, does some sort of alternative prospect seem good to you as a good idea?
Yes, I have a couple alternatives. I like the banishment because, number one of the developmental stages that adolescents are in is in their peer groups and learning from their friends, and that's their major one. And when you take that away, that individual has to start developing all on their own, and that's a very scary thing for adolescents because they get their strength from each other.
Okay, let's go back to Seth here, because part of what we're dealing with then is kind of like this, it's broken, and we don't know how to fix it, but maybe this is an indication of how we should start looking at fixing it. And your reaction? Or I'm sorry, Jeff Sullivan, prosecuting attorney?
The thing about this, see, first of all, there's two systems. You have the juvenile system and you have the adult system. These young men were declined on, which means the juvenile system did not sentence them, the adult system did, because of the seriousness of their crime. This is a violent offense. They hit this man with a baseball bat and crashed his skull. Now, this alternative sentencing is not new, folks. We had this alternative sentencing for years and years and years in the state of Washington. We tried and fixed everybody, and it didn't work. So we went to determinate sentencing. And we said, for people who commit violent offenses, you're going to go to prison. Now, in the wisdom of the Washington legislature, we now have boot camps in prison where they get this work ethic and we get some changes. You know, whether that works or not, I don't know. But I was raised in the system as a defense attorney, as a prosecutor since 1974, and I can tell you, we've tried all of these things. How can this banishment? I mean, you showed a picture here at the beginning of the show. How many people in the juvenile system, the adult system, are now national heroes being interviewed by Kathy Gertson? When was the last time she went to Echo Glen and spent 2 days with somebody there and their picture was on TV? We're making heroes out of these two guys, and I think it's a crime.
I think it's a point. It's a point well taken that we'll discuss. You alluded to the victim of this crime. When we come back, let's talk to the man who was beaten and robbed by the two youths that we're talking about. We'll also speak to the mother of one of those boys that is on one of those islands. And later, we will talk with the father of Brian Ronquillo, who's been convicted of killing Melissa Fernandez outside Fowler High School. That's all coming up. Stay with us. Don't go away.